DJ Ash Noble here. It's been a little bit of time. It's been around 13 days since I last did any sort of stream on this channel, and it's just been a little bit of a while in general. I know it's broad daylight, but I'm gonna just put my light on because it's a little bit hard to see me with the sunlight and stuff. It's not really helped, but I think it's helped a little bit. So yeah, let me just have a quick wet of my drink because, you know, dry mouth and all that. So what is going on, people? It's been a little bit of a while since I've... How was that? It's been a little bit of a while since I've done anything on this channel, and it's been... We're going to do some updates. That's what I'm going to try and do some updates on things that are happening, things that are going on, because this year has been not the best year. There's been like so many things kind of like changing, and then so many things that were happening like are now no longer happening, and it's not been a good year in that sense. There's been a lot of, you know, things changing around, and a lot of different things have been happening, and I'm not the type of person that likes a lot of change to the point where it's happening all the time and it's becoming annoying. So quite a few of my bookings, they got kind of like either cancelled or the date got moved, and there's just been loads of things that have been going on. So I think in all fairness, I've had around 3 bookings that were going ahead that have kind of like now been cancelled, like they're no longer going ahead. So it's become like ever so slightly frustrating, and you know, like it's been a little bit annoying on my part because, like, you know, I've really kind of like put my the thing that annoys me is I understand that things can go wrong from you know, the event promoter side of things, and sometimes they have to cancel things, and sometimes things are out of their hands. You know, it's out of their hands, and you know, it's unfortunate, but sometimes like I commit to that booking, and then sometimes that booking doesn't get cancelled until the last minute, and then by that point, like, it's too late for me to take another booking. Or sometimes like I'll have a booking somewhere and somebody will want to book me, and I'm like, nah, sorry, I'm not available on that date, and then like 2 weeks later I become available on that date because the said booking's now being cancelled, and then the person who inquired is now no longer needs me because they found somebody else, and it kind of, you know, it's a little bit annoying on that kind of thing. So we was originally supposed to play the Doncaster Warehouse towards the end of April. Now that got moved. That got moved to the 10th of May, and they changed the venue. Now the 10th of May, I'm on a family holiday over in Ireland, so I can no longer do that booking anymore because I'm not available, I'm not there, I'm on holiday. So that was a little bit annoying. And then I was supposed to be in Shrewsbury on the 19th of April, and the 19th of April I also got asked about doing a birthday party. Now luckily we managed to change the day of the birthday party to the day before, so I could still do it, but since then the Shrewsbury booking has now been cancelled, and like I'm now no longer going to Shrewsbury. So that's like a really annoying thing, because that was something that had been in the diary for quite a long time. It was something I was looking forward to. Unfortunate shame that it had been cancelled and stuff like that. Then I also got booked for an event in Leicester that was going to take place in August, and then I got a message to say that had also been cancelled. So there's a few little bits and bobs that have been cancelled, really annoying. So bookings for me, I've been a little bit quiet on the bookings side of things, and I've had a lot of things going on outside of music as well. I've had some quite good things happening with work, and then I've had some unfortunate things that have been taking place over the past couple of months. But we've, ideally, we've not had the best start to 2025. So first off, the Google account got hacked. We got hacked. I was locked out of this account for around a month nearly. Eventually managed to get it back. Then a couple of weeks after I get the account back, my power supply decides to give up on me on my PC. I've been without a computer ever since. We've not been doing anything really on FL Studio. I've not really been writing any songs, not been doing any remixes or bootlegs, which, that's not a massive mega thing, but it was something that was kind of keeping me sort of active, and it was stuff to work on for sets. I've not been able to buy tracks. So, like, when I buy tracks, I have to put them through a record box to put them onto my USB stick. So, I've not been able to do that because I've had no access to record box apart from the one at the studio, but that is a Mac computer, and sometimes when you plug a USB stick into a Mac that you've already sort of like been using on a Windows, it doesn't always work properly, and it can sometimes corrupt the stick. So with me, like, that being the only stick at the moment, and has everything vitally on that I need, like, I'm not willing to take that risk of plugging it into a Mac and then risking the thing being corrupted. Because without getting on the PC, like, I can't access all the tunes that are on that stick to re-put them back on again, because I can't get on to the PC. But we're getting that fixed, which is a good thing, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Then around 5 weeks ago, well, a bit longer, one of my uncles unfortunately passed away, and we went to his funeral about 5 weeks ago. Then about 2 weeks after that, my grandma unfortunately passed away, which I was very close to her, and she was ill for around a year, and unfortunately gave up the battle sort of about a month ago now. And then not even a week after my nan died, my nan's sister died, who was the wife to the uncle that we first lost about probably nearly 2 months ago. So all them died. We had last week, we had funerals. They decided that they were going to do my aunt's funeral on the Tuesday, then they were going to do my nan's funeral on the Wednesday, and that was obviously, not a good thing to go through. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, to go to a funeral for one family member on a Tuesday and then go to a funeral for another family member on a Wednesday, especially, them two family members. I was quite close to them. My nana was especially close to. She was like a mum to me. And my aunt was always good, had a good relationship with my nan, so we always did stuff together. If my nan wasn't at home, she'd be in town, and then from town she would be calling in to see my aunt. If my aunt wasn't at home, then she would be at my nan's. It was always the way it went. If we were going on like days out in the summer holidays, it would be my nan and my aunt, we would always go together. Sometimes my other aunt as well, who died about 4 or 5 years ago now, just before the COVID, had a stroke, unfortunately, but sometimes all of us would go. So I had a big sort of close relationship growing up with like all my aunts and uncles in that, well, more like great aunts, but like I always just called them aunts. So now they've all kind of passed away, and it's kind of just my granddad left now, and one of my other uncles, but he's really doing well for himself. He's in his getting towards his late 90s, I don't think he's not in the best frame of situation. Like, you know, he has a lot of people, like, you know, caring for him and, you know, stuff like that. But like, in all honesty, like, he still does good to be getting through another day. Like, and he seems to not do too bad. Like, I don't think he can get out loads and come out loads, and I know, like, obviously he doesn't drive anymore, but like, it's still quite amazing, like, how well he does for the age that he is. But yeah, so we've had that as well. So it's just been like some unfortunate start to the year, really. You know, but I don't know. I mean, I think there's something, like, I believe there's something in it. I believe, like, you know, like, we had to maybe get all of this bad stuff, like down and done out of the way, and then we can kind of focus on the future. I think that was kind of what that's kind of what's telling me, you know, that we need to do that. Big shout to Steve Games. So it's been a bit of an unfortunate year. Like I say, losing my aunt and uncle, and then losing my grandmother, all in the space of, like, you know, like, my uncle, like I say, was about probably nearly 2 months ago when he died, and we went to his funeral probably around 5 weeks ago. Then, like I say, a couple of weeks after, my nan passed away, and then not even a week after my nan passed away, my aunt passed away. So it, you know, to have all of that, like, in the space of a few, you know, not even 3 months, is, you know, a lot to take in. Like, I've been to more funerals this year than I've ever been to in my whole entire life. You know, I think, in all fairness, I think throughout my whole lifetime, I've only been to about, until recently, I'd only been to about 3 funerals, and they were like, like, years ago, I went to a funeral for an old guy who used to live near us when I lived at my nan's, and he was always really nice. He was real polite. And when I got into my late teens, I used to do, like, I suppose in America you'd call it a yard sale. And basically, I used to set a little table up outside my nan's house, and I'd sell loads of toys that I didn't want anymore, that I wasn't using anymore. And this old chap, he used to have a daughter that worked at one of the playgroups, and basically he used to buy toys off me and then donate it to the play group. So, like he'd pick up, like, toy cars, like, he'd buy them off me, and then he'd take it to the play group, and, like, he'd often sometimes, you know, spend around a fiver, get a few toy cars. If I had, like, maybe like a board game or a jigsaw or something, he'd buy it off me, and then I'd take it to the, you know, he'd take it to the play group, and he'd give it, you know, so the young people, like the young kids going to the play group, had something to play with, which was obviously really nice. And then, you know, he was always polite, and, you know, and we knew him quite well. So, you know, when he died, I obviously went to his funeral. I think that was the first funeral that I'd ever been to. And then basically, what I was going to say is then I had a sort of a stepdad who unfortunately passed away. Bloody hell, that would be about 8 years ago now, believe it or not. It was a little bit of a bad situation, so I won't go into it. Like, but I decided to go to his funeral. So that was probably the second funeral I ever went to. And then early 2020, my Aunt Marjorie died, and we went to her funeral, and they were kind of like the first 3 funerals that I'd ever been to. And then since then, I hadn't been to a funeral before then, any of them, and I hadn't been to one after them. So, you know, a little bit of a unfortunate thing, but now I believe that they're all out of the way. Hopefully nothing jumps out to get us now. Hopefully my granddad holds on a little bit longer, which my granddad doesn't seem to be doing too bad. He's not always in the best health, but he's not, like, majorly mega unwell. You know, and I think a lot of it sometimes is he just has off days where he don't feel, you know, where he feels like he can't be bothered more than anything. And, you know, apart from that, like, you know, he's not as good as he used to be, but, like, you know, like, we still get out for a meal. You know, we still go out and do the odd few little things, and I often, if I go through, I often get us a nice sort of either fish and chips for tea, or we go to a takeaway and we get something to eat, and he still off gets in the garden and potters around a bit, so that's obviously a good thing in that sense. So yeah, it's just been one of them unfortunate things that these kind of things happen. So anyway, so the good news is the computer is hopefully going to get fixed, so I'll show you. So basically, for those who don't know, this big power supply basically when busted, stopped working. It just decided one day when I was on the computer that the computer was just going to shut down, and that it wasn't going to work anymore, and my friend suspected that this had gone down, and I believe it has, because I plugged this back in and I try it, and it doesn't seem to want to work. So I think something has indeed gone wrong with it. I don't know precisely what. I would kind of like to have a little go at taking it apart and seeing if we can kind of find out a little bit more into kind of why it stopped working. But in all honesty, it's not, it just doesn't seem to work anymore. So anyway, cut the story short, my friend had luckily he'd built a computer, and he was like, well, listen, look, I haven't used this computer I've built for a while, so I don't mind giving it to you. You can have it, you can buy it off me. So we was going to do that, and then basically his computer wouldn't work. There was something not working with it, and it wouldn't connect up to my screen. So that was a little bit unfortunate. And then I had a look into buying a new computer, because I thought, well, I'm going to need a new computer. And then literally, I just couldn't afford to get one. And then yesterday, I saw somebody selling one of these second-hand, that said it was in good condition, it looked good, what I could see. So I just decided that, you know what, I'm going to just take that chance, and I'm going to just basically buy it and see if it works. So I've got to wait just sort of around a week for it to come. It's not coming from somewhere far, but when I ordered it, the guy was away. The guy wasn't back until today, so then he's got to come back, and I would imagine that this guy probably sells more than just that power supply, so he's probably got a few things that he'll have to sort out, and then obviously he'll get on to sell it, getting mine ready to dispatch. So mine says it'll come anywhere from between Thursday to basically next Tuesday, which is a week today. So basically that is kind of the score. That is pretty much what's happening in that sense. So we'll have to see what happens as to how whether it works or not. My guess is that, and I mean, I hope it works. I hope that we do manage to fix it, and we do manage to get it working again. That would obviously be the main thing. If we could get it working again, that would be absolutely solid. I don't know whether we will, but hopefully we're right, and that it was the power thing that had broke, and we can kind of finally get the computer going. So it's cost me around 20 quid to get this second hand. If you want to get them a little bit newer, you are looking a bit more expensive, which is why I did question the debate of whether it would just be worth actually buying a new computer. But when you think about buying a new computer, there's all the factors of was my hard drive going to fit? Would I be able to get everything that was off the old hard drive onto the new computer? Whereas with just buying this new power supply, it'll just go into my old computer, and hopefully the old computer will just start running again. and then we'll have no issues. And then hopefully I will be able to just, kind of, the plan is just to kind of, carry on from where I left off when the computer broke. I think I was working on one project, and basically it didn't save because like it was halfway through. Like I was working on, like I hadn't even been on the computer long. I'd only literally not even been on it 10 minutes. I just literally loaded a project up, began doing a bit of work, and then it just basically shut down on me. So like I don't know, so I suppose what I was working on, like I didn't lose a shed load of work because it was just, I'd only just started. There's, and there's another track that I've been working on that I really want to jump back onto. I think it'll, I think it's going to be really good if I can get it to work. So I'm looking forward to that. But what I'm doing at the moment is I'm just taking this apart because I just want to have a look inside it and see what I can do inside. And also what I want to do is just basically take this off. So when the new one comes, I don't get them confused and put like the broken one in the new one, because they're going to look more or less identical, So that's obviously one thing. But yeah, I just want to kind of see what we're dealing with. I don't know how much of this I can actually take apart. I haven't got the right tools to take everything apart, but some of it definitely. And here we are. So I'm inside the little fan bit, but yeah, so that's that. And yeah, I just hadn't been live for a while, so I thought, yeah, I'll come live. That was kind of the plan. But I just kind of wanted to see where we stand. They don't look like they want to work, so like I don't know if it was partly these wires. I don't know, but we have a new one coming, which is good. And like I say, I think I might have started that. But anyway, I'm going to cut from this. I just thought, I don't know really, I was just bored. I hadn't hopped on for a while, so I thought I would. Make sure to like, comment, share, all of that good stuff. We'll see you soon.